Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today I'd like to share with you a pre-release, the Warm Welcome Bundle. It's a photopolymer stamp set with a coordinating die set if you so choose to purchase it that way. And I'm going to use this Stylish Shapes dies here in a minute. But this stamp set was released early out of our January to June mini catalog that will be coming out, but it's going to be used in our World Card Making online event, and everyone can participate in this event. It is on October the 1st, and you can just go to stampinup.com, or you can find all those details on my Stampin' Up! Website, justalittleink.stampinup.net. But this wonderful bundle is available for the month of September, and I believe that they are available through October the 1st. When you order any one of these featured stamp sets, the Cottage Rose bundle, which is in our annual catalog, the Cottage Wreaths bundle, which is in our July to December mini catalog, or this pre-release Warm Welcome bundle, you can add, and you do need to add this code, you can add a set of the Iridescent Pearl Basic Jewels. I will link that number in my the details of this blog, but you can add that and you will receive those for free with your order. I think this is a really cute set, and I've just started to use it. This was the first card that I came up with, but I wanted to share how simple and fun this particular stamp setting card is. What you will need in order to complete this card, and all of these supplies can be ordered again from my Stampin' Up! Website, justalittleink.stampinup.net, and I'll have all the measurements listed on my blog, justalittleink.com. And if you order more than 150 or less than 150, not more, if you order less than $150, please use my current host code, which again will also be linked in the description of this video. And I always love those who subscribe, who like, share, and comment. So what you'll want for this card, I used a half a sheet, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 of our shaded spruce cardstock. I have a couple pieces, actually a few pieces of our basic white. I have one that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches for the inside. Then I have, I believe this is 1 3/4 by, let's get the measure out because I did not measure these, by about 3 1/4. That is so I can cut out the door. That is a die. Then you're just going to need a scrap piece large enough to stamp a cat, and then the row of shoes to go out front. You'll need a very small scrap, and I'm using some of our silver foil specialty pack paper that's in our annual catalog, and I'm using the most silver of all of them to do my doorknob. You're going to want a 3 1/4 inch square piece that you might, or that you can then cut the largest of our stitch shape circles from the Stylish Shapes dies. And finally, you are going to want a piece of our soft suede cardstock again. This one's 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, enough to be able to stamp and then cut out the opened door. So let's begin. I'm going to set this up here. Hopefully it stays in the screen where you can see it. We're going to go ahead and fold this piece in half along my score line. Get out my trusty bone folder. Dirtier one here, but they all work. So my trusty bone folder. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I've attached already my open door. I'm going to stamp that using some soft suede ink. And you can either stamp the stamp onto, and I prefer to take the stamp pad and lightly tap it on the block. When they get larger, this is my preferred method of inking. So I'm going to line up. Nope, and I almost forgot. I'm going to want, see if I have it sitting here. I think I put both of them in the other room. You're going to want a pierce mat, a Stampin' pierce mat. When you're using photopolymer stamps, and especially these larger stamps, you're going to want to have the pierce mat. It provides that little layer of cushion that a red rubber stamp already comes with. You could use a mouse pad if that's something that you still have next to your computer. That's also something that would work. So I've got my nice door lined up. That's the only thing I'm going to use my soft suede ink for. Then you're going to want to cut using those lovely dies. We're going to pull out this one. We're going to run it through, and I'm not going to run all of these through. I've already done that one. It comes out looking like this, has a little bit of an embossed detail to it. Set that aside. I'm going to then pull out my soft suede ink, or excuse me, my shaded spruce ink. We use soft suede. And I'm going to use the greeting that comes with this stamp set that says, "My door is always open for you." And I don't want to put it too far down, but I want to center it right to left. So nice inking. And step away. We will use this shaded spruce one more time, but we'll wait just a moment because that's going to go on the inside. So I'm going to set this aside. Let's go ahead and get the rest of our stamping taken care of. I somewhere set it aside. Yes, I did. Okay, you're also going to run through with your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine this little sliver of foil. You're going to want to cut out a doorknob. You can either use the larger circle or the smaller circle. I did the larger circle. And when you do, you end up again with, oh, get it pulled over here. You have your doorknob. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to stamp my little kitty cat on one side, and not too far up, not too far down. If you don't like it, and stamp him again. I think I like him a little better. There we go. And then I want that row of shoes I have on a block that actually had come in one of my kits. Some of the advantages of our Stampin' kits. So let's ink up my row of shoes. And for now, I can set this ink aside. And what I want to do, I'm going to pull off my pierce mat. Make sure I've got all these pieces that are already cut out of the way. And I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I've got the mini machine here. The mini machine comes with a few little quirks that are important to note. They come with, so let's pull out all the parts that comes with. When you buy the machine, it's going to come with a plate 1, 2 plate 2s, those are your cutting plates, a plate 3, which has some special uses with embossing, and a plate 4, again for embossing folders. All we're wanting to cut with the dies is plate 1 and 2 of the plate 2s. Now there's a few little hints that I find very helpful. I'm going to line it up just to show that this die does indeed cut through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I'm going to line it up, and I find using little bits of washi tape, or you could use some quick release masking tape, the kind you use when you are taping up around things for a painting job in your house. The other thing you could use is Stampin' Up! Now sells masking paper that's good for when you want to do a few different techniques, and little strips of that would work well also. So the tip is you're going to lay your top plate on, and you always, and I want to stress always, you always want an offset. And I do about 1/4 inch. So my top plate is about 1/4 inch beyond the bottom 2 plates. Then when I run it through my machine, you need to support it. So get it started. Once it's started, you can then hold in the center. That keeps everything from wanting to slide around. This is a little machine, and the little machine isn't heavy like our full-size Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So you want to make sure you have it supported. Let's see how well I did lining all of that up. Looks pretty good. So here is my open door. I can set that aside. Might want this little piece of tape. So then I also have my kitty cat. And the other tip I'm going to give you is it's good to twist these plates around about every other time. So I'm going to grab the die for the cat. I'll line him up, and I can color him after we cut. And so that's how we're going to do this. I'm going to line it up. See how well we go here. Line that one up. And we've got the row of shoes. So I'm going to line it up. We may have to do them in 2 separate passes. Okay. So I got a little too close with that inking, with that line up. So what we're going to do is open up my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Remember that overlap. It will roll through every time if you have that overlap. Okay. So I'll pull it apart, and then I can get the next. So I've got a cat. A little closer on the one side than the other, but it'll work. And then let's pull in this row of shoes. So I'm going to line up the top part like about so. Put my washi on there. Kind of here. Again, on about 1/4 inch overlap. And then roll it through. Like so. And that's going to complete all of the things that I'm going to cut for you today, because I've already cut others. So these aside, is my row of shoes. All right, so here, and get rid of my cutting plates. Then I'm going to show how I did my coloring. I took Daffodil Delight because we do not have crushed curry cardstock. Let me set this side here. I already stamped or cut out the shapes, my stitch shapes. So I'm going to use the lightest of my Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends. I've told you before, Stampin' Blends are my go-to. They're quick, they're easy, they don't show lines. You do need to use our Tuxedo Black Memento ink because it will not bleed with the alcohol in these markers. If you use our StazOn, that will bleed. So StazOn is for watercoloring. Tuxedo is for our blends. And so then I'm going to use the darker blend to give some stripes in some different places to my cat. You can kind of just, however you want, give him some little spots. That's how I colored my cat. And then I'm going to use the dark to do one pair of shoes. And I wanted to keep white soles. See if I can manage that. I'm going to use some of our soft suede to do the center shoes. I just wanted them to look different. These I'm going to have all the same color. And then I'm going to use the light of our shaded spruce. You could do however you'd like to get, again, I'm going to leave the soles to be white. Many tennis shoes that is the case for. So come here, grab across, super quick coloring. All right. So there are all of my pieces that I've cut out for my inside. I'm going to get a little higher here. I'm going to take, and I'm going to use the phrase from the inside that says, let's spend time together. The outside, my door is always open for you. And so I thought, well, on the inside, I'll use this, that my life, let's spend time together. And again, it's best if I pull out my pierce mat. So I'll come here, see if I can stamp straight. And then I'm going to stamp one more little kitty right here using my Tuxedo Black ink again. And I think I'm going to put him over here. Like so. And then what I did with that kitty cat is I painted him. I colored him using our soft suede so that he was a different color, almost like it's the friend on the inside of the door that's inviting the other friend in. And a simple coloring. I didn't try to blend. I'm just grabbing one color. This is the lighter of our soft suede blends. Color my kitty cat like so. And then I can start assembling super, super fast. So here we go. I'm going to take my inside and grab my Stampin' seal. Open my card up and center my inside. Super, super fast. Then I'm going to take my circle, going to stamp here. I want to give a little bit of an offset from the top and the side, about the same, like so. For this, for my open door, I'm going to take the piece I stamped, put some adhesive on the back, line it up so it should have an even offset around where it's been stamped. Go over here. Then I'm going to go ahead and put some Stampin' dimensionals. I like the mini dimensionals for this. It can just kind of add a lot of them and lift it on all of these corners. So I'm going to come, grab a little bit in all these places. And then a couple. You could probably get by with fewer, but this to me was what made sense. I'm going to pull those off, just set them aside, little backers. Helps if you have some fingers. Helps if you have fingers. It helps if you have fingernails. If you struggle with that, you could take your pick tool and the pokey end, and it will lift those up for you as well. So if you struggle to get them off, that's one of my best tips. So then I'm going to offset this a little bit. I'm going to come, I want a little higher than I did before. We're going to come over here, but almost even between the sides. I'm going to take my row of shoes. I'm going to also use the minis, and that's in part why I chose to use the minis for this, just because I can use the same ones and not have to have two separate packages out. So again, I'm going to pull those covers off the back. I didn't do that on here, but I'm going to here because I like the look of it. So then I'm going to set it right at the edge where I have one row coming off. And then I want my little cat. I just need a couple for him. So I'm going to put one here and one in the bottom. Doesn't need a lot. Again, pull those backs off like so. And I'm going to set him down here. He's like at the door, like waiting to invite you in. And finally, I need to attach my doorknob. So I'm going to take out my liquid glue, my multi-purpose liquid glue, put a dot on where the doorknob stamp part is, and I'm going to line this up over here, and like so. And there you have a simple card. It'd be great for a friend that you're wanting to let know you're thinking of them. And even if you're far apart, you can have coffee online with each other at the same time, even if you're in a different place, which is how I'm doing a lot of things these days. So thank you again for joining me. I hope to see you again soon. Please, again, like and share and subscribe if you've not already. Look forward to seeing you again soon.